I can y'all hear me? Oh yeah, all right. Can y'all hear me? Got a little different system today. But let me see who we got in here. District 120, Down Bishop, Complete, West Coast Wise, Felix Almanzar, Justice Born, Freedom Culture. So, first of all, shout out. We got our video today. We got we said that we was gonna come back to this. Shout out to Professor Dave Explains channel on YouTube here. Check out he got a lot of science knowledge on his channel, about other things other than this. There's some other debates that he had that we might check those out a little bit later. But on this one right here, for those that might just be tuning in, you're not aware, but we've had some run-ins. I wouldn't say run-ins, but we've encountered the flat Earth community on this channel a couple of times, and each of these times, the individual that from the community that we interacted with let us know that he, the person we interacted with, in fact, wasn't an expert on flat Earth, but if we wanted to get some more in-depth knowledge or get some of our questions about flat Earth answered, that a Mr. David Weiss was an expert in the topic. You know what I'm saying? In fact, in one of these instances, Mr. David Weiss was actually greeted with more peace than the God. Not me myself, but one of our good brothers. So I guess without further ado, we're gonna check this out. It's everybody ready to get into this? I haven't watched any of it, so we'll pause from time to time to see what's going on. I think you're supposed to say fair use right here. We're going to just be giving an analysis. Like I said, I want to see what it is that Mr. David Weiss, what his expertise is, and just to see in real time what it's like when Mr. David Weiss interacts with an expert in the field of globe Earth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and set this off and check this out.
Without any further ado, let us bring in the guest for the Flat Earth debate. Here we go. It's Flat Earth David. Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming back.
Was there an echo? I think I need to get my headphones. Hold on. Giving y'all a horrible listening experience. I have speakers hooked up so I can listen to my sound. Okay, we hooked up now. I got the headphones in. Here we go. So this is Sean Atwood. Appears to be the can y'all hear me? How's the sound now? Is feedback? Okay, hold on. Okay, how about now? All right, now let's make sure I can hear. But once again, yeah, Mr. Sean Atwood appears to be the moderator here. I'm not sure who says the edge with Andrew Gold. Not sure. Flat Earth Dave. I suppose this is Mr. David Weiss. So let's see what's going on.
Gonna be interesting for sure.
It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? And
Hold on, wait. Still not. Now y'all can hear. I can't hear. See, this one pays to be black.
Professor Dave.
Howdy.
Thank you.
See. Said the blind man. You just. How about now? What's happening? Is there? Is there feedback right now? Is this? All right, like visible Atif. All right, so let's see if we can all hear now.
Thank you for coming on for the first time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Congratulations on your YouTube success, man. 2 million subs. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is the first time I think a real flat earther, I'll call myself a real flat earther, has spoken direct with Professor Dave, as he normally does videos, that go out and pretty much straw man us, whether you know it or not, or gaslight us, and then there's really no way to respond because.
No, so you've never seen my channel ever and have no idea what I do because I make academic tutorials.
I have, but your flat earth stuff is is gaslighting us essentially.
It's devastating and destroys flat earth easily.
Absolutely. So
it started big
I
straw man. Oh, he says that they think the earth is flat. What a straw man.
I'm with you. Listen, I don't mean to come off that way. Would it be okay to look for some common ground? Can I just ask a couple of quick questions, Dave? You good with that?
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, I'm just for to see if we have any common ground. Do you believe we went to the moon?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that governments are here, especially the American government, for the people's well-being?
It's a pretty complicated question.
Okay, you don't have to answer it. That's fine. That's good. Do you believe that there's censorship going on YouTube?
Yes.
Some stuff is deprioritized in the algorithm. I don't know if that qualifies as censorship.
And is the news here to inform or to fill us with propaganda?
The news is largely propaganda. None of that has anything to do with the shape of the earth. So I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. Literally none of that has to do with the shape of the earth. So you're really off to a bad start already.
So we can see that Professor Dave here in the bottom right, Dave Farina is he's coming out. he's coming out firing on cylinders. He's clearly ready for the smoke. David Weiss, so far he's a little bit slow out the gates, but this is still a warm up. So let's see how this proceeds.
Just looking for some common ground. That's all.
Well, so if we both don't like the government, therefore the earth is flat.
So the common ground is that we're going to try and keep talking points to 3 minutes each, responses to 2 or 3 minutes each, so we could get through this hour and everyone could get an equal share of the time involved here. And I think the first point that we've got up on the list is, what is gravity?
Uh-oh. We going straight in. We going straight in. This is we had this question. We had this question as well on the channel. So let's see what the flat earthers, or who a few flat earthers have identified to us as an expert, and what Professor Dave has to say.
You want to go first, Dave, or you want me to go?
Oh, okay. This is how we're doing this. Okay, so according to general relativity, it's the curvature of space-time around massive objects. And so this is one of the easiest ways to know that the Earth is a sphere, because everything we see, everything, including the Earth, right, very large, massive objects are crushed into a sphere. That's why stars, planets, moons, everything pretty much is spheres. So you can now go ahead and do your electric gravity bullshit, and then I'll explain to you why it's stupid.
Well, the question is, does anybody have any scientific?
Woo! Opening volley.
Or anybody that's ever proven that any of the luminaries we see in the sky are even physical, let alone spheres?
Yeah, we can see them in telescopes.
You can see them. So you believe that if you see something, that'll tell you its shape. So when I look at this, are these spheres?
Oh.
Are these spheres, Dave? Are these spheres?
Yeah, no, I've seen this little trick, and I know the third one from the left is flat.
It's
Now,
showing you.
see, here's
The
the
third one
problem.
from the left is fat. Dave, let me give me a second, then you can go.
No, because I've
What-
seen you do this because I
what-
watched 2 of your videos and you say the same crap in every single one.
Right.
I
But
know
what
what
I'm
these
showing
are. I
you
know
is
what these
you
shapes
don't.
these are.
So how do you know what shape the moon is? How do you
Okay,
know
so
that the moon is even a physical object?
here,
Because
here's
during a new moon, no one
yeah,
sees
I
the
get
moon
it.
in the sky.
I know your talking points. So the reason, so this works because that's not moving. The things in the sky move. So if you take the third one from the left, which I know is flat, and you move it around, it's going to start to change shape, right? If the moon was a flat disk, I don't even know if that's one of your talking points or not. As it passed over you, it would change shape. It would
I don't think the moon is
distort.
a flat disk at all.
Okay, so it doesn't matter though. That's why what you're saying is stupid because these objects do not move. Now, the other problem is it's not just about shape, it's about other things like composition. Do you know what spectroscopy is?
Yeah, spectroscopy is you can measure gases, but it has to be in a container. Where's the container?
No. Stop. We're looking at light. We're looking at light and we are understanding about the materials, right? We're understanding the composition of things based on light. So when you start talking about gases, you show me immediately that you don't even know what spectroscopy is. So you do not know the ways in which we figure out things about celestial objects. You literally don't even know the definitions of the words that represent the techniques that we use. So why are you even talking about it?
So my question is,
Woo! This is that university smoke right here. Now, one thing I want to point out that I'm noticing already with David Weiss, right? That I've noticed with the people of the flat Earth community that we've come in touch with, right? Is that so far he's only presenting questions. You know what I mean? He hasn't, so, it's just beginning, but I'm just saying, they point that out now, right? Before it gets too late. And then, I just want to say that I'm noticing that already.
spectroscopy needs to be in a container. Otherwise, you don't know what you're looking
Spectroscopy needs to be in a container. The
to
study
be.
of how light interacts with matter needs to be in a container. What does that mean?
Otherwise, when you're looking at the moon, you don't know what gases you're seeing in between us and the moon.
Gases? The moon is solid. The moon is a solid object.
How do you know that the moon is solid? How come you can't see it during a new moon?
Why can't you see it during a new moon?
Yeah.
Because do you understand how vision works?
Well,
right? In a new moon, what's happening in a new moon? The
there's no
light from
light.
the sun is illuminating the side of away from us.
So
Right? Light illuminates the things that it hits. So a new moon is when the side that the sun is illuminating is the other side away from us. What do you want it to do? The light to go around the moon and come back and hit the other side like magic?
Without interrupting, let me just answer. When we have when it's nighttime, you're away from all lights and there's a full moon, I can read by that moonlight. That moonlight casts a shadow on the ground. Don't interrupt. That casts a shadow on the ground. So that moonlight, which is reflected sunlight off a dusty, dirty, rocky, rock ball in your world, is bright enough to travel 238,000 miles to cast a shadow on the ground and to light up my book so I can read. During a total solar eclipse in your world, the Earth is a full Earth from the moon's point of view. It's bigger and shinier, and it should light up the moon, but it doesn't. And no telescope, from any position with infrared or anything, has ever seen the moon.
Can you think of why? Can you think of why? Can you think of a much, much brighter object that is right there where the moon is?
Well, during
the corona of the sun, which is thousands of times brighter. What you're doing right now is you're basically saying, I'm going to shine a spotlight directly into your eyes, and then you tell me if you can see a firefly 2 centimeters to the right. Like, what are you talking about? Do you seriously not understand this stuff? A child can understand this stuff.
So when you're throwing out words like spectroscopy, what's the difference between spectroscopy and astrospectroscopy?
What do you mean astro? So astro is a prefix that means stars. So if that's even a word, it's spectroscopy pertaining to stars. What are you, like, Googling stuff furiously over there?
I'm just asking you, I've taken a few notes. I figured out, I watched a few of your videos. I know the straw manning that you're going to try to do and the things that you're going to try to claim. And in reality, an infrared camera, a regular camera from the space station, they should be able to see the sun, the moon either approach the sun, eclipse the sun completely, or exit the sun, and nobody has ever seen it. So again, why are we looking up in the sky when
Yeah,
we're
I just
talking about the
explained.
shape
I
of the
just
Earth?
answered your question. You just answered it again. You asked a question that I just answered.
Which
The
is that?
sun is very bright, right? Way, way, way brighter than Earthshine. Do you understand that if something very bright, you're looking at something very bright, you can't see something way less bright right
Dave,
next to
when
it?
there's a
What are you not
total
getting about that?
when there's a total eclipse of the sun and you have the little ring around there, you can block that out so it doesn't blind you and you still can't see it. You know what?
It
Why are we
doesn't block
talking
it
about
out. The
lights in
corona.
sky?
Have
Why
you
are we
never
talking about the
seen an
lights in-
eclipse?
Why are we talking? You can make a fake eclipse, right? By putting a disc in front of the sun and then looking at the corona, and you can do the same thing with the corona. You can block it. Why
and
are
it's
we looking
really
up at the
bright.
lights in the ceiling that determine the shape of the floor?
Because it works really well. It's the easiest way to figure out the shape of the Earth is by looking at the celestial objects in the sky and recording their motion.
One
It's
second.
very, very easy.
1 second. Ash has said we've got to move on to the next talking point, which is space is not as depicted, displayed in media, movies, etc. Flat Earth, Dave, do you want to start with that one?
Ask the question again, please.
Space is not as depicted, displayed in media, movies.
Yeah, I mean, space is they're just giving us images of insanity in space. Like when they show us nebulas, right? They show us this and they tell us this is where stars are born. This is where there's gas and dust, so much of it that it's creating stars and spitting them out like ping pong balls, where they go run away and they park themselves in the rest of the galaxy. This gas and dust in space in a vacuum in zero pressure, how does that work? How come this doesn't collapse in on itself? This is just
It does.
fantasy
That's how
painting.
stars are born.
Yeah,
They
so-
do collapse.
Yeah,
It's
so-
how stars form.
Dave, in your world, this is gases are collapsing upon themselves and then
Yeah.
igniting themselves in a vacuum, in a vacuum, and then they
This
burn
is
for
no.
billions
Stop.
and
Stop.
trillions of years.
Look. I know that you want to just spew your script without anybody challenging, but you say so many
I have
stupid
no
things,
script, David.
and I'm here to tell you why everything you're saying is stupid. So when you say stars igniting in a vacuum, the reason that's confusing for you is that you think stars are little bonfires
No, I
because
don't.
you're a moron. Because
No,
you don't
you-
understand nuclear fusion.
Woo! Professor Dave, he has a very mild mannered. He has a very mild mannered look. But he clearly came here today for the smoke. You can see the guy in the upper right hand corner. He just the look on his face right now. It's like, woo. I don't know if he was ready. I don't know if he was ready for this level of smoke to be unleashed. See, Mean Gene over here in the upper left-hand corner, he's loving it. But I mean, I don't know. I guess so far, Professor Dave definitely got the knowledge. I don't know. Let's see if David Weiss can make a comeback. Struggling a little bit on this one, but let's see what happens.
Fusion.
You think
Nuclear
that-
fusion is the process by which stars glow. They're not little fireballs. And
So,
you
Dave-
could learn that by Googling something for 5 seconds, but you don't do it.
So, Dave, you believe that all the rocky bits turn into perfect balls, and then all of the gases somehow start getting gravity, and they start pulling it together, and they
Start
get so
getting
big.
gravity? What do you
Well,
mean
they-
start getting gravity?
How do they grow into stars? How come the dust is accumulating? What's bringing it together? Somebody pushing
Gravity.
it up like a snowball? So
Gravity.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they get something, and it's a tiny bit of gravity pulls in some more dust. It pulls in not dust, it pulls in gases, and somehow it's pulling all of these gases together and turning into a nuclear furnace that burns for billions of years. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. And if you
Okay,
want to
so-
believe that,
so-
that's
so-
the world.
So centuries of brilliant astronomers versus nuh-uh. Is that really all you have? Is the entire field of astronomy and you going, I don't like it. That's dumb. I'm dumb and I don't get it. So astronomy is wrong.
Dave.
That's literally your argument against astronomy, right?
Woo! See, I'm saying what it is. See, David Weiss, he ain't got the personality. See, right now he's he's definitely losing the charismatic part of this. Let's see if he can mount a comeback on some definitive knowledge.
No.
You never met these men. You don't know anything about these men other than the stories that the controllers of this world tell you.
You know they wrote books, right?
Well,
you know
so
they wrote books that
so-
we can read, and then we base astronomy on that and do astronomy every day, right?
Dave, try not to interrupt. Aristophanes figured out the shadow. Eratosthenes figured out the diameter, the circumference of the Earth with his sticks and shadows. But nobody in that area that came out of that, other mathematicians, never wrote any books about him. They ignored him. They just never mentioned it, and then all of a sudden it shows up in the 1900s in books that go into the education
that's not true.
system.
I mean, if you're just going to lie, then we can just play the lie game.
And Dave, what about the fact that proves nothing? It works perfectly on a flat Earth. Sticks and shadows prove the Earth is flat, and it proves it's a globe. But you'd have to assume parallel rays. Listen to this. Aristophanes believed that parallel rays are coming into Earth, right? And no one has ever seen parallel rays coming into Earth, right? When we look, we always see them curved. We always see them crepuscular. But he also believed that the Earth was geocentric and we had an infinitely far sun. And so that sun is orbiting around a minuscule.
Far?
Well, infinitely far. Infinitely far means so far away that the rays come in parallel. And that's a whole nother problem. But how is a distant sun orbiting around a speck Earth in the middle of space? That doesn't make sense. And they didn't think about
what
that.
Doesn't make sense? What doesn't make sense about an Earth orbiting a sun? What?
No.
Going that doesn't make sense?
Dave,
isn't an argument.
Dave, stop being a dick. Listen to what I said.
Stop being a dick.
The Eratosthenes believed that the Earth was geocentric, that the sun orbited us, but the sun was a distant sun. How does a distant gigantic sun orbit a minuscule speck Earth? Okay? Yeah, you have no answer for that.
They don't know. Yeah. It's the ancient Greeks. They didn't know. Now we know, right? We figured out heliocentrism in like the 16th century. So it was like 500 years ago. It's a pretty long time.
His story makes no sense. And the other question is, you believe that the sun rays that come in are parallel, right?
No, there are rays that are parallel, and then you can point a ray from one edge of the sun and the other edge. Look, light is going in all directions, right? The sun is expelling light. They're spherical waves of light, photons in every direction, right? So you can identify parallel rays, and then you can identify one from this edge, and if you want to talk about individual photons, you can draw.
After saving with customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual, I customize everything, like Marco's backpack.
What's it like to learn math on Brilliant.org? Brilliant gets you hands-on to help you learn by doing. Learn topics from
draw paths from the edge of the sun going in one direction, the edge of the sun going in the other direction. You're trying to oversimplify things. You're trying to go, oh, it's crepuscular, it's all parallel, and so then this time it works for my talking point, and then another time it doesn't work for my talking point.
My point is Aristophanes' story doesn't make any sense with a distant sun orbiting a geocentric Earth.
Yeah, if you just say it doesn't make sense and stop talking,
how
I guess.
How does a distant sun orbit a geocentric Earth when the Earth is tiny and the sun is gigantic?
Well, it doesn't.
In your
Long
model.
Story short, it doesn't. Yeah. But so he was an ancient Greek, and he didn't know heliocentrism. They didn't know when Newton developed Newton's law of universal gravitation. He didn't know why massive objects attract one another. Right? He just said, this is what happens, and I have this equation, and we use Newton's equations to do all these incredible calculations that predict the motion of objects on Earth and in space. He didn't know what gravity was. Einstein gave a better explanation. The curvature of space-time are warped around massive objects. We're probably going to get a better model later. Just that we don't know why things happen doesn't mean we can't do science at predictive power. So as it turns out, Eratosthenes and Ptolemy, the Ptolemaic model, was wrong. Heliocentric model is correct. It doesn't matter that they didn't know that part, or that they didn't know why something happens. Do you not understand how science works?
So if he was wrong and the Earth and were heliocentric, do you think his experiment proved your globe?
Well, yeah, it did. All of those experiments proved the globe. It just didn't have
absolutely.
anything to do with heliocentrism. It proved
Absolutely
the Earth
not.
is a sphere.
Absolutely not, because with a local sun in like the flat Earth is, we have no shadow here and we have a shadow here, and then you could do your math and figure out what the sphericity of this flat plane is, right?
Okay. So for that to work, how close is the sun?
How close is the sun?
How close is the sun?
Yeah, the
really
sun,
close, like right
sun,
above the clouds, which we'd be able to see if you went up in a plane or a balloon, and it'd be like right there. Huh?
Dave, there's tons of videos explaining how the sun is an apparent object and we all see it in a different position.
Oh, there's
wherever
videos
we are.
that say dumb things.
No,
so
no,
it's
there's
true.
that show science, show experiments. And when you try to triangulate the sun, there's a problem. You can't do it. You can't triangulate the sun. So how far the sun is, some flat earthers say it's 3,000 miles away. I don't like that answer. The math works. We can scale it and make it 6,000 miles away.
You've never done any math in your entire life. You just say the math works.
Stop.
I know, when in these types of videos, you're supposed to react like I'm supposed to say something right now. But I'm pretty speechless. According to this, the sun is as far as California. I'm in New York. I'm not sure where everybody's at. But that's interesting.
Stop being a condescending prick, all right? Try.
Why don't you stop condescending to the entire human race and pretending that every scientist ever is a liar and satanic deceiver? That's much more offensive than me calling you stupid, which you are.
Dave, what is the sun?
What is the sun? It's a star.
It's a star. It's a burning
star.
It's a nuclear furnace that's working perfectly, and it's bending space-time where it could hold on to all of the planets that go all the way out to Pluto. Is that your belief?
Well, Pluto's now a trans-Neptunian object.
So we'll go
Neptune. Yes. Yes.
Right. And then the sun's gravity ignores all of the moons because the moons are attracted to their planets, and it negates the sun. That's what you believe.
What do you mean negates the sun?
Yeah,
so moons. So what you're saying is that like one of Jupiter's moons should go flying towards the sun. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm asking you if you believe that the sun's gravity has no effect on moons.
Yeah, it had. You can calculate. You can see. This is what real scientists and people who understand science can do calculations. So instead of you going, I don't believe it, what you could do is you could take Newton's law of universal gravitation and take a moon, whatever moon, if you want to talk about our moon or one of Mars's or one of Jupiter's or whatever, and you could calculate a number that is the gravitational attraction between the sun and whatever moon you're talking about. And then you could do the same thing for the moon and its parent planet that it is orbiting. Which number do you think is going to be bigger, buddy? Which one do you think is going to be bigger?
And so
the planet, the one that it is orbiting around.
When we have a planetary alignment where all the planets are lining up, all of that gravity.
Hang on. You know what? Sorry. I would like you to actually just address what I just said, because this is what happens is I say something, or a flat earth debunker like myself says something that just annihilates the idiotic thing you just said. And then you just gish gallop to another point. I would like you to admit that what you just said is stupid based on what I just said.
Hold up. Listen, I've never heard this before, but this is my sentiment a lot of times, exactly about a lot of things. But this is look, still early in the debate. David Weiss can maybe come back.
Repeat what you said.
I just explained to you why what you said about the sun and the moon is stupid, and you just jumped to another talking point.
So you say that the gravity of the planet is holding on to these moons, and
Yeah.
it's so much stronger. Let me
Yeah.
finish. I'm reiterating what you're saying to show you how stupid it is. It's
Uh-huh.
holding on to the planets, but the sun's gravity, it can hold on to the planets, hold on to distant planets, but can't affect those moons at all.
Can't affect, like I just said, you can do a calculation. Did you want to do the calculation? Do you want to do it together? Do you want to learn something today? It's called
David,
Newton's law of universal gravitation. Do you know what is in the denominator? R squared. It drops off, gravity drops off by the square of the distance. So as things get very, very far away, their gravitational influence is dramatically less, exponentially so. So when you have a moon that is right near a planet, the gravitational effect is way more than the faraway sun. Isn't that neat? Isn't that a neat thing that we can do with math and numbers that are real things that scientists do instead of just going, it doesn't make sense, so that's dumb.
You done?
Yeah. What do you got? Do you want to address this thing or do you want to jump right to another thing?
I want to jump to something else because you say that the sun's gravity that can hold on to Neptune and Pluto can't affect the moon, which is way closer to it, and that the Earth's gravity overwhelms that. That's stupid. That's me saying it.
Why?
You're the
all you're saying is that's stupid. All you're saying is that's stupid.
And all you're saying is that it works because I could do math, but it doesn't. It doesn't work.
What do you mean it doesn't?
Dave, model it. You ever know about the 3-body problem? I'm sure you know about that.
Oh, the 3-body problem. So we can't do
Dave,
calculations.
Stop being such a condescending prick. We already know. Just talk normal. Have a discussion.
Sorry, hang on one second. This is serious. This private chat keeps covering this screen. Can this stop? Why is this doing this? The private chat.
Yeah.
Like,
it shouldn't cover the chat, should it? Just trying to make sure everything's all right.
Covering the whole screen. All right. Anyway,
hang on. Yes, we're sorting it out. There seems to be a problem with Sean's. I can't hear you, Sean.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's going on. I've been watching Sean every now and then, just chatting away, and we've not been hearing him. There's tons of important snippets of information lost forever to the ethers of the internet. How are you guys doing? There's a lot of back and forth, isn't there? It's a very, dare I say it, American debate, isn't it? It's insults and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I would like to get off of the lights in the sky because I'd rather talk about the shape of the Earth.
Because they destroy the flat Earth?
Well, you say that, but the lights in the sky have nothing to do with the flat Earth.
Okay, so this was my first talking point. Were we going to do the talking points that we prepared? Because my first talking point is about this, and it is an absolute annihilation of flat Earth. That's why you don't want to talk about it. That's why you say, why do we look at the things in the sky to figure out the shape of the Earth? Because that's how we figured it out 2,000 years ago, by looking at the stars. Can I show my slide that shows this? Okay, here we go. Observation of the stars. Next one. You're controlling it, right? Do I just tell you when to go? Okay, so if you're in the northern hemisphere looking at the North Pole, then hang on, all this stuff is covering. I can't even see the text. I think I remember what it says. Anyway, if you're looking at the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, the stars rotate counterclockwise. Go to the next one. If you were in the southern hemisphere looking at the South Pole, the stars rotate clockwise. Next one. How does this make sense on a flat Earth? Sorry, this is a screenshot from one of my videos. So in the video, they're rotating in different directions. Why would two people on a flat pizza land look at the sky and see a sky that is rotating in different ways? Next one. And furthermore, why can't we all see the same stars? There are stars that you can only see in the northern towards the northern hemisphere, and stars you can only see in the southern hemisphere. Next one. On a globe, this makes perfect sense. If you're in the northern hemisphere looking at the North Pole, east is to your right. If you are in the southern hemisphere looking at the South Pole, east is to your left. Next one. And the reason we can't see certain stars is because you can't see through the Earth. Next one. That's why in the northern hemisphere we can't see the Southern Cross. That's why in the southern hemisphere we can't see Polaris. Next one. Almost done. Quick one here. So it actually gets a lot worse than that in the southern hemisphere because you've taken a globe and you've unwrapped it. The southern hemisphere makes absolutely no sense. People in the southern hemisphere who are all looking at the Southern Cross are somehow supposed to be, we're believing that they're all looking in completely different directions and seeing the same object often at the same time. Next one. Go to the next slide.
It might be that because Ash is doing this. Oh, has he done it? Has it worked?
Yeah, that's it. I think this is the last one. So again, on a globe, south actually means something. People who are looking south are all looking at the South Pole. They're all looking in the same direction. So that's why they all see the same thing, such as an object like the Southern Cross.
All right, can you go
I
back
think
to
that's
the
the
first?
last one.
Let me go through the
Just
slides. Let me
check
go
if
through-
it's the next one.
Yeah.
Check if it's the last one.
And if you can go back to the first one, that would be great.
See, this is this is you know, he went into a few more aspects and details of it, but this is the question that I'm always asking them. Why can't you look from anywhere on the planet and see Mount Everest? You know, Mount Everest, like from wherever, if the earth is flat, from wherever you at, there should just be something sticking up over everything else. But I digress.
So in your world, we have people standing upside down, and you're assuming hemispheres on a sphere.
What do you mean upside down? What do you mean
Well-
upside down? What does that mean?
Compare their feet are antipodal to my feet. People in the South.
Okay, so yours are upside down compared to them. What's the
well,
difference?
I'm
What's
saying
down on a globe?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying people are upside down to each other halfway across the world.
So
if we can go back to the original slide, so I can remember all the points he made, so I can address them, that would be fantastic.
I think the issue is that Ash, the producer, is having some issues with his internet and isn't able to do it. Sorry about this, guys.
Yeah.
We're usually quite good with the tech and everything.
So
yeah,
I'll try to.
I can tell you the points again.
I'd rather just see the points rather than hear you say them again.
Okay.
If the, I don't know, he can't change it back.
I don't think so. He's in the Philippines or something mad like that. So he's having some difficulties with it. And I think Sean is as well. Good thing I'm here, saving the day.
Okay, look,
but yeah,
it was that in the northern hemisphere, the celestial sphere rotates counterclockwise. In the southern hemisphere, it rotates clockwise,
let me
and
respond.
we can't see certain stars.
You don't have to do the whole presentation. You can just remind me.
That was it. Go ahead.
So no matter where you are in the world, all of the stars, all the lights in the sky from things that we call planets, wandering stars, sun and moon, they all rise in the east, set in the west. If I'm standing on a flat Earth looking out to the south, the stars are coming from my left. If I'm standing in the north, looking at the north, the stars are coming from my right. That explains the opposite direction.
No, you just explained the globe model. You didn't explain anything.
You don't understand.
On the flat Earth, how do people see the sky rotating in different directions?
Because
Explain
you're
that.
facing in different directions, David.
What do you mean facing in different directions?
I will explain. If I'm
wait, hang on. Speaking of facing in different directions, Flat Earth Dave, because we've changed the angles a bit, you're a bit off the screen. There, that's it.
I got it. It would be better if you can make me widescreen so I can show what I'm showing. But
okay, well there you go. And I'll just say, Sean's just saying that his thing is freezing, so I guess he'll be back when he can. But for now, you keep going.
So on a flat Earth, if we have a flat Earth, north is to the center, south is every direction away from the center. So if the stars are going this way from my right shoulder to left shoulder, I'm looking at the North Star, they're going one way. When I turn around and I look at the south away from the center, they're coming from my left shoulder to my right shoulder. They just changed directions. Okay, there's no argument there. There's nothing to argue.
Okay, now do clockwise and counterclockwise,
well,
because that's really what we're talking about. What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Again,
you're talking about a direction. I'm talking about clockwise versus counterclockwise when you're looking at the poles.
Dave, the optics of
poles.
the sky. Yeah. Huh? Well, you say the poles. So getting back to your point where you have somebody in Santiago, somebody in Johannesburg, and somebody in Australia, when they see the Southern Cross, well, they don't see it at the same time. They see it 12 hours apart from Santiago.
They don't see it at the same time? So people looking south can't see the night sky at the same time?
David, if you understand what the flat Earth model is, if somebody's in Santiago...
You don't have a model.
Listen.
Yeah.
After saving with customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual, I customize everything, like Marco's backpack.
There's something so sexy about a man in a button-up shirt, but sometimes it's just not worth the stress.
Stop being a dick. Okay.
You stop being a dick. Your entire existence is being a dick to all of science. So stop telling me
keep
to
going,
stop being
keep
a
going,
dick.
keep going.
Mhm.
So somebody's in Santiago and it's midnight. They're looking at the Southern Cross. Well, somebody in Australia that's looking south, they're looking at the noon sun. You tell me how they can
Noon
see the
sun?
star. The
How
noon
many
sun.
how many time zones apart are they? Are they 12 time zones apart?
Well, at noon, close to noon, right?
Okay, no, first of all, not close to noon, but it doesn't matter. How about you go 4 hours apart? Why don't you go 4 time zones apart? They should still be looking in completely different directions. 12 midnight, 4 a.m., night sky, both looking south, both can see the Southern Cross. On your pizza world should be looking in completely different directions. Explain that.
Dave, when the only time that can happen is in Johannesburg and Santiago, and if you add magnetic declination in there, they're both looking in the same direction.
Magnetic declination?
Yeah.
So you think just saying the word magnet is going to be an argument here that's going to work for you?
Look up the magnetic declinations of those areas. You don't know what direction you're facing, right? There's certain areas of Antarctica that the magnetic declination is 170 degrees. So when your compass says north is that way, it's 170 degrees the other way, according to, NOAA or whoever's in charge of that, right?
Look, you can dress it up however you want. We're talking about looking this way and looking that way, and they see the
Ah, man. He started to break down too, man. The frustration from these body blows. The frustration from these body blows is starting to build up here. You know, let's see what happens. There could still be some answers in here soon.
the same thing, and you're fixating on Santiago and Johannesburg because you think that they're far enough apart that they're not going to both be nighttime. I'm telling you, you can go any distance apart. Just go from Perth to Sydney, right? That's far enough apart that if you're both looking directly south, you're looking in different directions and you can see the same thing. You cannot explain that. That's why you're trying to throw out jargon to confuse people.
I'm not trying to throw out jargon to confuse people, David.
That's exactly what you're doing.
When you're looking towards the same area. You're looking towards the same area.
But on your pizza world, south is a different direction for every longitude line. Do you not understand that? On your pizza land, right? You have all these longitude lines. Directly south is towards your magic ice wall. Everybody looking south is looking in a different direction.
All right, now listen. Even for the Christ, this is getting. I think you might have dropped him right there. Was that the first? Should we do? I think we need a standing 8 right now. Let's just do a quick standing 8. Bear with me. This is you gotta give him a little chance, make sure you're all right. Make sure you know what city he's in. Alright, fight.
Magic ice wall.
Yeah. So stop trying to skip to something else, right? Are you denying that longitude lines, everybody on your pizza world is all looking in a completely different direction when they look south?
NASA or NOAA, they tell us, what longitude lines you're talking about. They tell us that the magnetic declination is a different direction. So we're listening.
Do they, or are you just randomly grasping at words to try to make sense of something that is absolutely unexplainable for you?
David, it's not true. And the optics in the sky, again, do not prove the shape of the Earth. You say that
I just did prove it with that. So I don't know what to tell you.
Let's move on.
So I'm sorry, guys.
Do you want to move on?
My entire
from
system
this thing?
crashed.
I want to move on from looking at the lights in the sky to figure out. Yeah, we hear you.
Because I proved the.
Oh man. Hold up. Yeah, hey. This is we going old school down, Bishop. He gets 3 standing eights. He gets 3 standing eights. You see that's the end of that round. So he makes it. He make it out of that round. You know what I mean? Well, no, you get 2 standing eights. The third standing eight. He made it out of that round. You know, but you know, when he just said just now, I don't know if y'all caught that. He said, you know, I want to get off the lights in the sky. Like, my man, we wasn't talking about no lights in the sky. We was talking about what direction is south and what you see when you look south. You know, that was a little, you know, you got to protect yourself at all times out there. Protect yourself at all times out there, Mr. Weiss. I don't know. You know, starting to get a little punch drunk, but look, it looks like, you know, you still got half the fight. Who we going? Is Don Bishop? Is this one of these new joints? Is this a 12? Is this a 12 round, or we going old school 15 rounds? I know Professor Dave is going old school. But let's see what happens. Ring the bell. Fight.
The Earth is a sphere. By using that, is that why you want to move on?
No, not at all.
Well,
we hear you. We don't care.
It is.
What
though.
talking point?
We hear you, but we don't care.
What talking point are we on right now?
I just finished proving the Earth is a sphere by looking at stars, something that we've been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah, so says you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and everybody who's ever lived. So NASA isn't gonna really help you with that one. Sorry, buddy. They started in the 1950s.
All right, so we've got a talking point from Dave, which is the Bible has 200 references to the flat Earth. Every major ancient civilization cosmology depicts the Earth as flat.
That's from me or from Dave?
That is
I would
from
never say
you,
that.
I think.
That's not from me. That's not from me.
It's from Ash. It's from Ash.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Bible believer, you know, from page 1 in the Bible, it says God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament. That's all interesting, but you know, I don't use the Bible as science, because science will show us on a ball Earth, Dave. Yep. You have to have a physical horizon, right? If my fingernail is a boat, as it goes away, it disappears below a physical horizon, and zooming in will not bring it back. However, we can see too far. They say the ball is 24,901 miles around, but we can see things that are way, way, way farther. And with infrared, now we're seeing things 500 to 1,000 miles away. The amount of curvature.
You're not.
I know, yeah, we are. Go look at J. Tolan Media's channel.
Go look at some lies that a flat earther said. That is real evidence.
No,
sure.
It's Dave. It's well documented. You haven't looked at it. And then when you say the curvature formula is a parabola, I absolutely agree. It is. Over 1,000 miles, it gets off a little bit, but anything under.
Now, I would think that the expert, Mr. Weiss here, would have some a little more than YouTube videos. You know, once again, Professor Dave kind of makes my point. But you know, let's throw the videos out and just take a picture of me from Philly. Take a picture of me from Philly. And we just change the whole conversation. But let's see what he has to say.
1,000 miles. All 3 formulas come within a very close proximity of each other.
Yeah,
right?
but the problem is you can't do math, so you just do the math wrong.
Well, you can say that, but if you look at all of the curvature formulas under 1,000 miles, it's perfectly accurate. And then you think that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and we don't feel it, and we're changing, we're changing directions. How is that possible? How about when
Yeah.
the Earth comes around comes around towards the sun in the winter, in our northern winter, it's speeding up and taking its sharpest turn, and then we don't feel any of those forces.
Its sharpest turn. Okay, so this one's really hilarious to me. So the sun goes around the Earth, or sorry, the Earth goes around the sun in how long? How long does it take?
A year.
A year, right? So why don't you go ahead and get in a car and do a 360 turn and make it take a year? Are you going to feel that?
Dave, that's not a
Let's
fair...
break it down. 360 degrees, 365 days. That's about a degree a year, right? Why don't you get in a car and drive for 24 hours, and over 24 hours, veer by 1 degree? Are you going to feel that?
That would be equivalent to this.
You better come. Hey, listen. I mean, listen, maybe he could have just been the words he was looking for, not the concept, not the ideas. But he better come back. He better come back with something right here.
People say, "Oh, I'm just trying to think of the easiest way."
I'm just trying to think of something to say
Hey,
that
Dave,
will make
stop,
sense.
Stop being a dick, right? Imagine you want to compare that.
Man.
If you want to compare that to reality, imagine you're in an airplane where you remove the outer shell of the airplane, you double the speed of the airplane, and you nosedive 2 miles a minute. Okay, and that just to follow the curve of the Earth. That's the speed that the Earth is curving. And when something's moving and it's curving, that's acceleration. Okay, so
big words.
Just this acceleration's a big word.
What the hell is he talking about? We gotta bring that back. We gotta.
Winter, it's speeding up and taking its sharpest turn, and then we don't feel any of those forces.
Its sharpest turn. Okay, so this one's really hilarious to me. So the sun goes around the Earth.
Yeah.
The Earth goes around the sun in how long? How long does it take?
A year.
A year, right? So why don't you go ahead and get in a
I'm on a
car
live stream
and do a 360 turn and make it take a year? Are you going to feel that?
Dave, that's not a
Let's
fair...
break it down. 360 degrees, 365 days. That's about a degree a year, right? Why don't you get in a car and drive for 24 hours, and over 24 hours, veer by 1 degree? Are you going to feel that?
That would be equivalent to this. People say, "Oh, I'm just trying to think of the easiest way."
I'm just trying to think of something to say
Hey,
that
Dave,
will make sense.
Stop being a dick, right? Imagine you want to compare that.
Man.
If you want to compare that to reality, imagine you're in an airplane where you remove the outer shell of the airplane, you double the speed of the airplane, and you nosedive 2 miles a minute. Okay, and that just to follow the curve of the Earth. That's the speed that the Earth is curving. And when something's moving and it's curving, that's acceleration. Okay, so
big words.
Just this acceleration's a big word.
When it is for you because you're not using it properly. So, acceleration is rate of change in velocity. So you're using it like
when
velocity.
You change
so
off
you don't
of
know
your
what
vector, when you change off of your vector, that force is equal to acceleration. Okay.
Yeah, but I just told you, right? It takes a year to go around the sun. What?
So,
how much are you feeling? Do you want to calculate it? Should we calculate it together?
I'm talking about the spin of the Earth. The spin of the Earth. The spin of the Earth. Right? You're dropping.
The spin of the Earth is constant.
2 miles.
We do not feel.
You're falling, like if you take a point in space and you go for an hour, you're falling at the same rate as a skydiver free falling. Okay, that's ridiculous. right? You are
Yeah,
curving
see-
off of your line of your trajectory.
This
You're
one I
curving.
think I figured out, and I think this one is genuine confusion on your part. So I don't want to hold this one against you as much as other lies you tell, which are just blatant lies. This one is just you not understanding. You're trying to compare motion within the atmosphere of the Earth. So you're like, oh my gosh, something going through the atmosphere so fast and it's crazy and we feel it, versus motion in frictionless space. Do you not understand that that's not the same thing? Right? There's the atmosphere on Earth is very thick. There's a lot of friction, right? So when you try to move through air, there's friction and you
Doesn't
feel
matter.
it.
It doesn't matter.
What
if
do you
that
mean it
air
doesn't matter?
If that air is spinning with the Earth, which you have to believe in your model, you would feel
Doesn't matter.
You would feel that motion. If you're in an airplane,
Why would you
close,
feel the motion? Why
because
would
you're
you feel the motion?
Because your energy is changing directions, and you would
Your
have a
energy
force.
is changing
wait,
directions.
What about eclipses, guys? What about
hold on.
eclipses?
Hold on.
That's my
Let's-
third
let's-
talking point. I hope we get to it.
Let's finish this point. Your mainstream science says that because of the spin of the Earth, because of the centrifugal force, that the water bulges at the equator 14 miles high.
What?
This is what Neil deGrasse Tyson and science tells us about the spin of the Earth. The water
it
at the
doesn't.
equator, yes, it does. It
No,
bulges
it
14
doesn't.
miles high. It makes the Earth 29 miles wider at the equator.
No. That's the Earth, not the water. What are you talking about? Are you a moron? Dude, the radius. This is what happened. You're very confused.
So let me ask you a question.
No, stop, because you just said a very specific number, and I know why you said that number. The diameter of the Earth is about 27 miles greater at the equator. That's the whole Earth. You're trying to pretend that it's all water, that there's just this big thing of water that's 14 miles. Is that what you're genuinely trying to say? Are you that stupid?
Well, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson says. But let's
No,
just say,
he didn't say that.
I'll go with you. The Earth is bulging. So does that mean that large bodies of water at rest near the equator, if you hung a plumb line over it, that it wouldn't be perpendicular to the surface of the water? It would be off just a little bit because of that bulge? Or does gravity? What does
the bulge of the equator have to do with the water?
Well, because the gravity pulls everything to the center of the Earth in your whole world. And if we have a bulge at the equator, a plumb line, which should be vertical, it should be perpendicular to the water, would not be perpendicular to the water because the water would be sloping away because we have a bulge.
What do you mean sloping away? Okay, a bulge isn't. First of all, as I just said, this has nothing to do with the water. It's the shape of the Earth itself. So you're just completely wrong anyway. But second of all, what this is the thing with you guys. You think that the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be? You're talking about a plumb line. Do you think that the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be like this or something? Do you have no idea how big the Earth is? Do you not understand that the curvature is not detectable at the surface of the Earth? It's really big. It's a really big planet.
We can see boats go over the horizon. We can see boats go over the horizon, but we can't see the curve, right? Dave, according to your math, there's certain things that should be behind a curve at certain distances, but we can see too far.
But we can't. You just lie about them. You just said earlier that we can see things 1,000 miles away. Are you out of your mind? Everybody should be able to take a telescope then and see something 1,000 miles away. Why can't they?
Dave, you don't know where it was taking it from. It's infrared cameras. Go look at J-Toll and Media One and watch all of the.
He's the special one. He can do it. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else can get this footage. Oh, but they don't.
Dave, let me ask you a question.
They just don't because they don't feel like it.
Do you believe that the ground is horizontal?
It's almost perfectly horizontal. Yes.
Okay. Are horizontals parallel?
Horizontals
parallel? That's a question.
I think what you're trying to ask is if you have parallel planes, right? If you have two flat planes, can they be made parallel? Yes, two flat planes can be made parallel. Well, what are you saying? Because nobody has any clue what you're saying.
If you have a horizontal line on Earth, then there's only one point that would be touching the Earth, and the rest would just rise up into space. But all horizontal lines line up with the horizontal horizon. Okay, they're all parallel.
Yeah, they, or do they just look like that because your eyes suck and they can't distinguish between arc seconds of angle?
All right. Well, let me phrase it this way.
Looking like it perfectly overlaps doesn't mean that it perfectly overlaps.
Only
Hey,
got
Right,
Just
10
because
minutes
the
left.
horizon
Only
looks flat
10
doesn't
minutes
mean
left.
it's perfectly
I don't-
flat.
10 minutes left, guys, to move on to eclipses.
10 minutes left. I didn't even get to do I did one of my things.
It
I
could be
gotta-
13 minutes.
My question is, the
let's move
top
on
of the
to
World Trade
eclipses.
Towers, when they were up, are those floors larger than the lower floors? Because for them to be perpendicular, they would have to get larger, right?
How far apart were they? How far apart were the towers?
I don't know, but I'm asking about one tower.
Okay, but it doesn't look. It doesn't matter. We're talking about the distance between the towers or the width of a tower. Do you know how much curvature there is over such a small distance? It is so small that it is 100% negligible. What are you not understanding about that? The Earth is really big.
So do you believe that horizontal lines are parallel?
If you make them parallel, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about horizontal lines on Earth. When you're, surveying the land and you have a horizontal line, another one, another one, another one, are they parallel?
If you make them parallel, they're not lines, right? They're not actual lines. Do you know that lines are just approximations, right? We can draw lines, we can graph lines and do math in perfect Euclidean geometry. The Earth has a spherical surface. So yeah, we can go, that's a line and that's a line. And if we're just looking at less than a mile, yeah, it looks really straight, but it's not because the Earth is a sphere. So you're not comprehending scale. That's the problem.
Has anybody measured curvature in large body of water at rest? Large body of water needs a container to hold it in place. And has anyone measured any curvature on resting water? Don't tell me your drop and your wave, which is in your stupid video that got 10 million views.
Drop and wave? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You talked about water curves. You showed a drop of
water.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, no, I know what you're talking about.
That is just a complete straw man.
Well, it's not, but actually, this is what's funniest to me is that you're flatter, you debunk yourself with this level water thing, because the funny thing is that so tides exist, right? And so on your little pizza world, tides are these little mounds of water that kind of travel around. I don't really know how else you're going to explain this, but right, tides exist, right?
Yeah, they do, but they don't correlate to the sun and the moon. There's
Stop. No.
Only two things are forever: love and Liberty Mutual customizing your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
No sun and the moon. No sun and moon. There are the water levels go up and down, right? And in different places, not everywhere at the same time, right?
Yeah,
so on your little pizza world, you've got a little hold on. You've got a little mound of water that's just kind of traveling around. So I'm sorry, but water isn't level on your pizza world either.
Dave, what causes your high tides? The moon?
What causes tides? The moon and there's solar tides and there's lunar tides.
Right. And so when there's a new moon, which means the sun and the moon are on the same side of the Earth, the tide should be bigger, but there's not. There's bigger tides when they're opposing.
It is.
No, they're not.
No, it is.
You're absolutely wrong.
No, I'm not. And you can Google it right now. What are you talking about? When the solar and lunar tides align, that's the highest tide.
Right, guys,
you're just saying it's not because you're just lying.
I'm being pushed by Ash to move on to day/night regions of illumination.
Woo. Before we get we coming down the stretch, we've reached that point where I gotta ask. This is if any of the people from the flat earth community, if y'all watching this, is this a different David Weiss? This is not the David Weiss y'all was talking about. This. If you're watching right now, put it in the chat. If you see it later on rerun, let me know in the comment section of the video. Because I didn't get that good of a look at him in the other video, but I just want to be sure that this is the guy that y'all say is the expert that I need to check out. Inquiring minds want to know.
Okay.
Right? What does that mean?
Oh well, that's my second thing. I can try. I'll do it super fast. I'll do it as fast as possible.
Go on. Do you need him to put the thing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not be able to do that. Sean, what are you thinking? The system has crashed. That's why I got kicked off.
I mean, I can try.
Yeah, saying, don't the cat that's in the lower right-hand corner right now, right? Don't he look like Mr. Burns when he was young and shit? Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. He looked like Mr. Burns when he was making his first $1 million.
I mean, you kind of need the visual, but I mean, I'll wing it if you guys want.
Please wing
We're not going to get the slides. So. Okay, so
sorry about that.
So this is the funny thing about your pizza world is that in the northern hemisphere things are kind of okay, not really, but in the southern hemisphere it all goes to crap. And so to try to explain night and day and seasons, which you absolutely cannot do, you try to make the sun go way out towards the bottom, and you think that works because it makes it the longer nights, right, up in the north. But the problem is in the southern hemisphere everything is terrible because you've got the sun way out towards the edge. And therefore, it shouldn't be able to illuminate very much of the Earth. But in the southern hemisphere, in like December and January, you've got regions like towards the southern ends of those continents that are almost day almost all day. So you've got 19, 20 hours of daylight. So you've got this sun that's traveling around way out towards the edge, because this is how you like to do it. And it is somehow illuminating almost all of the outer regions of your pizza world. And yet it is somehow not illuminating the center because areas towards the North Pole have 24 hours of night at that time. So unfortunately, you can't do the like Antarctica isn't real, so the South Pole, that's not a thing. These are places where people live.
We don't say Antarctica is not real. We don't say that at all. You say
no,
that.
you say the South Pole isn't real.
We don't.
Even though there's people who go there and work there. And
people work at the South Pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, prove it. Okay. So
you can get a job there. Did you know that civilians can get jobs?
So the way it
works, you should apply for one. I think that'd be a cool video for you to
Dave,
do.
on your upside down world, on your ball world,
yeah.
In the north, Norway and northern Alaska, we have the 24-hour sun in June. Okay, and we see the sun, and it's been filmed by millions of people, and you can watch the sun circle around. Makes perfect sense on a ball. Makes perfect sense on flat Earth. We're on the same page there. But 12 months, 6 months later. 6 months later, at equal southern latitudes, you should see the same. But there's no video of the. No, you don't. There's no video of the 24-hour sun. There's 3 or 4 fake videos, clearly fake, taken apart. I'm talking, right? I didn't interrupt you. And there's no 24-hour sun. The sun antarcts away from you. It comes towards you and it goes away. Okay. Unlike the Arctic where it's circling around. I'm still talking. Okay. And there's no 24 hours of daylight. But if you add a dome in there, and again, we're looking at the lights in the sky, which is something that doesn't prove either. When you bring the sun closer to the dome, it wraps around, and we could show you this. Get a dome, get a glass, move the light, and you'll see that the light wraps around, and that's exactly what we see in Antarctica.
Okay, so I know that you can do your fun little middle school science project where you have a little, serving tray thing, and you make a flashlight do funny things, but you cannot make it actually. So this is why you have your dumb little app, your little thing, and your sun and stuff. It doesn't actually show the regions of actual daylight and nighttime. It just shows like a little cartoon. You don't actually see, it doesn't actually do these patterns. So when you're called out on this, instead of going, oh, my app shows the actual patterns and this crazy arc that would make sense. So first of all, I'm sorry, even though there are videos at the South Pole, I'm sorry that Antarctica is not where a bunch of people live. So we don't have all of these videos like we do way up towards the North Pole. But again, as I said, the way southern region of Argentina, like I did in my video, Ushuaia or whatever it's called.
Which cartoon do you like the best showing Antarctica?
What do you mean, which cartoon?
Which cartoon? There's no pictures of Antarctica from space.
Okay, well, there are, so that's really dumb. But
No,
let me
there's not.
continue demolishing. Okay, stop. I'm going to continue demolishing the idiotic thing you just said earlier. So you can do your little thing. Flat earthers love to do their little middle school science projects. So okay, you've got the thing and blah blah blah. So why can't your flat Earth app do it? Why can't you actually show the regions of day and night? Why can't you look at that and go, yeah, look at that. I see the light illuminating this part of the flat Earth. Right, and I can see that we have 20 hours of sunlight in southern Argentina, and I can see that you just have a little cartoon doing nonsense, and then all of your idiot people who buy that thing, they're not like, oh, that looks cool, and they don't actually look at what it does at all, right? Why can't you have it show that, right?
It shows pretty accurately the amount of day and night, but I can't
No, it
show it.
doesn't.
Well, I can't show it because the farther, if on the latitude line that you're on, it's different where you are. So I have to kind of blend them together. It's just a tool to show
The amount
how,
of day and night depends. The amount of day and night that objectively happens in a place depends on your latitude.
absolutely 100% on your ball too. When I'm in the north,
No, no.
you know,
I don't
in the
think you
winter,
understand. I don't
no,
think
no,
you
no,
understand
no,
what I just said.
no, you don't understand what I just said.
No, I definitely
so-
know that you're not saying anything. I'm saying that in that town in Argentina, there is an objective time where the sun rises and sets,
Yes,
and
but
where you are doesn't
there's-
change that.
there's no place that you have 17 hours of sun. You have daylight. Daylight is the illumination of the sky. It's not the sun.
From the sun.
No, the sun is
You're saying that daylight
illuminated.
is not from the sun?
Absolutely. So if the sun
Where is it
rises-
from?
If the sun
What's
rises
making
on-
the sunlight then?
no, the sun is lighting up the sky. It's like a photographer. You have your main light and then you have your backlight. The sky is the daylight. When the sun is on the east side of your house, right on the horizon, go to the back side of your house. You can read the newspaper. Well, where's that? That sunlight's not. What's it going through your house? It's lighting up the sky.
It's
and that's
scattered by atmospheric particles.
That's what
It's
you
still
say.
sunlight.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you say to say a
Well,
thing that
Dave,
explains
how
why what
come-
I just said
how
is stupid,
come-
and I have
how
no
come-
way to combat it.
How come nobody has filmed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
They have. You
mean-
just say it's a lie.
Show us,
They
show us,
have, and
bring
you
it,
just go,
bring it.
"Oh, that's fake."
No, we don't. We don't just go, "Oh, that's fake." We
But
show
guess
you how
what?
it's fake.
That's why in my video I don't talk about Antarctica, because you just say it's fake. That's why I picked southern Argentina, because people live there and they have 19 hours of daylight, and you can't explain it because it's this
I did
huge.
explain it. You can't
No, you didn't.
understand
You
it.
just said there's a
Absolutely.
glass thing in the flashlight. You're just
Right.
doing a middle school science project. You're not actually explaining anything. You're just going, "Oh, I did a thing in my living room, so all of science is wrong." That's what you're doing.
You don't.
The globe. I wish I had this slide, because the
again,
globe.
Dave, the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. You can.
Well, they are.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
I
in
just
your
did it
world.
twice.
Yeah. Well,
And
keep-
you have no
keep
way to
claiming
combat
it.
anything I just
Keep-
said. So that's
keep
why you
claiming it.
say that thing over
Can I
and
just
over.
interrupt here? Flat Earth, Dave. What would it take? Because I think Dave is saying that people live in Ushuaia and that they have this, and you could just go and ask the people though. You could go. What would it take to convince you? And how important is it? Why is it important to you to hold this belief? What does it mean to you?
It's not important to hold the belief. I'm looking for the truth. And if the globe was true, then when in Antarctica in December, you should be able to see the sun circle all the way around without dropping.
And you do.
You can.
Dave,
I've seen
no,
loads of documentaries where that happens.
You can't. You cannot see it. It's absolutely untrue. And we show the best one that they have. They show a 24 hours of the sun going around, and when it comes around, not only is it the same clouds, the sun is in a completely different position, like months different position. So it's all camera trickery, and it's provable. It's not just us saying it. So when you watch,
No,
things,
it
you're
is
like,
just
"Oh,
you saying it.
yeah, well, not true. And do some research,
Yeah.
Dave, and then get out of your little ball model, and you'll see. We don't live upside down on a space ball flying through an infinite
Down
space
is towards
vacuum.
the center of the earth. Nobody is upside down. That's one of the dumbest things you morons say. Down is towards the center of the earth. Nobody
Yeah.
is upside
So
down.
on your world, there's people upside down relative to me.
And you're upside down relative to them. It's a
Yeah,
sphere. Who cares?
Good luck with that.
Your
with
response
that.
to basic shapes is good luck with that.
Yeah.
Are you 5 years old? You have the intellect of a 5-year-old. You can't understand,
Hey,
like little
Dave,
kids understand this stuff. You know
I
that?
just want to say that you're more of a condescending prick than I thought.
I wouldn't say you're more than anything I thought. I know what you are, but
You know, looking at the way looking at the way David Weiss is responding to Professor Dave is it's uncanny because that's the like the way it's like I'm watching. It's like I'm on the outside watching an episode of Random Jewels. When I have certain individuals, when I open up the medicine cabinet, maybe, but this response, uh, the only thing he hasn't done is accuse you guys of being followers. That's about it. Usually when it gets to this level, start taking a shot at the Random Jews audience, but that's uncanny to me.
I'm sorry, again, to reiterate for the third time, your entire identity is based on the idea that all the scientists in the entire world are lying deceivers. So you're a condescending
That's what
douchebag.
you say.
And me calling you stupid, which you are, does not hold a candle to what
John,
you are.
That's what he claims. I don't believe that. And
Wait,
that's what you're
I've got another question for other Dave, Professor Dave. Just so obviously I could see, I mean, it means a lot to you as on the other side, of course. Why does it annoy you so much, the flat earth stuff?
Because it's so, I mean, first of all, a lot of what I do, I do mainly academic tutorials, but I also address misinformation. I'm very passionate about public science literacy and science denial. And flat earth is the bottom of the barrel. So I go after like anti-vaxxers and stuff like that. And that is a little more sophisticated. And you have to actually understand a little bit of biochemistry, a little bit of immunology and things like that. Flat earth is the only one. I just proved the earth is a sphere multiple times in this exchange based on looking at things in the sky and thinking. That's how we figured out the earth is a sphere several thousand years ago. It's like the first thing we figured out. So this is why it's so offensive, because it is a denial of literally all of science. Astronomy, all wrong. Geology, all wrong. Physics, all wrong. It's so unbelievably offensive to the entire human race. That's why you're a douchebag, and me calling you stupid is nowhere near the magnitude of douchebaggery that is your entire identity.
You're talking to him, not me, right?
Sorry, yeah, to Davey boy over there.
So he believes that scientists that he never met 2,000 years ago proved that the Earth is a globe, when in reality, in the 1940s and 50s and up to the early 60s, they were still teaching flat Earth in public school here.
No, they weren't. That's just a thing you're saying.
That's an
There's globes from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. You can't just say that. Like, you should show me something. Show me a textbook. You can't just say, oh, this thing I made up is true. You're an idiot. What are you talking about? We've known the Ptolemaic model, which reigned supreme from 100 or whatever, to the Copernican model, used a spherical Earth. Geocentrism used a spherical Earth. And then Copernicus and Kepler happened. And they wrote books, by the way. They wrote books, and you can read them, that they exist. And we've known about heliocentrism for 500 years since. So I don't know what you're talking about. You are completely pulling that out of your ass. Nobody taught a flat Earth anywhere for any measurable amount of time.
Can we have Dave tell us how seasons happen on the globe?
Okay, so I wish I had the graphic because it really works really well. So there's a tilt in Earth's rotational axis, right? It's tilted like this. So one of the hemispheres is exposing more of itself to the sun, right? And so you get more direct light versus, so let's say this is the northern hemisphere, this is the southern hemisphere. More of the northern hemisphere is exposed to direct sunlight. So you have longer daylight, right? So it's so hard to just do in my hand like this.
No, I get it. I understand. You got it when we're tilted towards it, the sunlight's hitting direct, and it's more intensified here, and down here it's spread out more. Makes sense.
Yeah, because of the curvature, so it has to spread out around a greater area.
But isn't the sun so large that all of the rays leaving the sun are parallel? And why wouldn't the parallel rays that are a little off to the left, hit us direct? Are the rays leaving the sun parallel, or are they leaving not parallel?
Okay, when you have a certain okay, here's a lateral distance. If the sun is directly hitting the part of the earth that's directly facing it, that's a certain area. Then if you move this way, we have the same lateral distance, but there's a lot of curvature here. It's covering a greater surface area.
I have
right?
a question. So can the earth can
Okay,
be
do you
tilted-
want to admit that I just explained that perfectly and that your talking point was invalid?
I know. I admit that you explained that perfectly, but I have to
Okay,
ask you a
great.
question. So we have the pole here, and we tilt the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And can you tilt the earth this way? That's a tilt also, right? Absolutely.
What? You're just turning it. What are you doing?
No. What I'm showing you is here. Here, we let's say the sun is over there, and we tilt, and we're now directly towards we have a more direct angle. We're in agreement on this. But if I'm here and I tilt it this way, well, now the sun is lower. It's now skimming. It's now skimming, and it's not hitting as direct. So here's the problem with your seasons. In the north here, in December, when we're 3 million miles closer to the sun, but we'll just ignore that because it's not significant.
Yeah, it's not significant, so I don't know why you said it.
Well, we're 3 million miles closer. At sunrise, in December at noon, when the sun is 50 degrees in the sky, and I look at the sun, I can barely feel it on my face. I can't get a tan, right? But in June, when we're farther away from the sun, doesn't matter. And at sunrise, when the sun is literally an 89-degree tilt, the worst possible angle, as soon as it shows up on the horizon, I can feel the heat and I can get a tan. Why is that? Because in your world, it should be arctically freezing every morning all year long.
I genuinely have no idea what you're saying. You're throwing out 89 degree. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so you have the sun here. Right?
All right, this is starting to deteriorate into babbling. This is I think we're seeing some signs of mental instability here, maybe. Let's see if you can tie this all in and make any sense of it. See if you can tie this in and make any sense. He lost me when he went with the other tilt. I'm not really sure what but yeah, Prince Drunk. Look, he down the stretch now. You gotta let him. You can't Richard Steele him. You can't pull a Richard Steele right now. You gotta be like who was my man back in the days? You gotta be like the Judge. You gotta be like Mill Lane. You gotta be like Mill Lane. Let him. You gotta let him rock out. Championship round.
Right? The sun, and we're tilted, so it's 34-degree tilt. Well, if I tilted it all the way down to the horizon, so I'm here and the sun's over here, okay, that's an 89-degree tilt, 1 degree off the horizon, right? Any farther, it would be below the horizon. The sun
I'm
sets.
already lost. I have no idea what you're saying.
It's because you're stupid, Dave. Right?
5 minutes
No,
left,
it's
guys.
because you're not
5
saying
minutes.
anything.
I will
You're just
explain
going,
it
if I
again.
tilt it this
I
way,
will
this
explain
has
it again.
nothing to do with anything.
If the Earth is tilted 34 degrees, that's how
23 degrees, something like
23 degrees, whatever. If we tilted it 90 degrees, the sun would set. It would set over the pole, which doesn't happen. So the farther,
5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes left.
The farther I tilt it, the more spread out those rays are. Well, the spin is the equivalent to the tilt. So when I'm spinning away from the sun's getting lower and lower and lower. It's spreading out across the world. It should get colder and colder and colder because that sun is spreading out.
Spreading across. You understand that there's always a face of the Earth. There's always the sun is always is hitting half.
But now, I think I'm understanding what he's saying, right? Now, if I understand what he's saying correctly, then yeah, you're explaining why it's cooler at sunrise and sunset than it is at noon. Like he's saying that as it's as it's rotating, is tilting. I mean, he's not really. That is, I guess what he's saying is, imagine a pole was going through the equator instead of the prime meridian, right? And so then this pole is theoretically tilting as the Earth is rotating. And so he's saying that that should affect the, I think he's trying to say that should affect the seasons. I think he got two problems here. One is that, it takes a while for the summertime to really set in. You just don't become summer in one day. That heat is built up. Like right now in New York, I could feel the heat just building up in general. Like, 60 degrees right now, 65 degrees right now, don't feel the same as 65 degrees last month. It's a different kind of air out there and everything. So, this 3-month cycle as opposed to this 24-hour cycle he's saying here. Again, it disappears that he leaves out a lot of things. You know what I mean? Because one place, I'm not sure they would go there, but, he's talking about just the atmospheric heat, right? But, it's also water temperature is very telling of the process of what's going on, because the water heats up and cools down slower than the air. But it appears that's where, flat Earth, becomes difficult for me to understand whenever they start dealing with the water.
Half of the Earth.
Not according to time and date. All right, but
The
that's a
sun
whole nother,
isn't always hitting half of the Earth.
on the ball. It would be, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not
Well,
what we
it
see.
does
But
though.
here's
So
the
what are
thing,
you talking about?
David? You're not listening. Okay.
I
can
am. You're
tilt-
just
I
not
can
saying
tilt-
anything.
I can tilt. So if we're tilted away from the sun, we have our winter. Now I tilted farther, it gets really cold because Antarctica or the Arctic is tilted farther away. That's why it's cold in your world, right?
But it's not. What do you mean? If we tilt it further, it's not tilted further. It's a 23-degree
Right.
axial tilt.
And-
So what
and
do you
why-
mean tilted
and
further? What are you talking about?
Why is it colder in the Arctic in the winter than it is in Florida in the winter?
I just explained it earlier.
I know, Dave.
It's getting more direct sunlight.
Absolutely. So don't interrupt.
Hang on. If
Dave,
the axis is tilted away, then it is. Dude, I just explained this.
Dave.
How do you not get this?
No. You're not getting it. Listen.
Okay,
So
you can just say that, but I actually explained it.
You're not getting this. Okay.
Dave,
No,
we've
hold
run out.
on.
Dave, we've run out of time. We've run out of time.
Tell me this.
Well,
Listen.
I'm just going to let you guys tell the viewers where they can find you and support you. So, Professor Dave, we'll start
Dave,
with you.
you don't
Thank
get
you for coming on, Professor Dave.
Thank you.
Can you tell the viewers where they can find and support you, please?
Professor Dave explains. Oh, sorry.
So, Professor Dave, go on. And what socials are you on, Professor Dave?
Just YouTube channel, Professor Dave explains.
All right, so Professor Dave's YouTube channel link will be in the description box below this video if you want to subscribe, if you want to check his stuff out. Huge thank you for coming on. Flat Earth Dave, do you want to tell the viewers where they can find you?
You can find me at flatearthdave.com, but I'm thinking of making it professorflatearthdave.com, but flatearthdave.com because
isn't that cute?
We get to make up to being professors. That's always nice.
Yeah, I actually taught at an accredited
flatearthdave.com.
university though, so it's not
Without
that
a degree,
weird.
Thank you.
without a degree,
Thank you,
they
guys.
fired you.
Multiple
Guys.
degrees. I have a master's degree.
And they fired you.
Dave, can I get those bitcoins? Can I get those bitcoins?
You
We've
didn't
got
prove the
another
globe.
debate. We've got another debate coming up in
All
a
right,
minute. So
see you
huge thank you
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Take care, and you're
All right, bye,
always
buddy.
welcome to come back on. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Cheers.
right.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye. Good night. Bye.
Well, shout out to these two guys right here that hosted this. On the Edge with Andrew Gold. I didn't get a chance to shout him out, but I didn't know about his involvement when I first saw this link right here. Sean Atwood, you know, I'm not sure what, or maybe saw the same show, but shout out to them for bringing this. Professor Dave, David Weiss, you know, both of y'all was very game. They was game. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not sure. You know, maybe let's say this. You know what I mean? I'm going to extend out to you know, anybody from the flat Earth community that perhaps you could recommend a debate where you know, maybe you see it as David Weiss got a little more opportunity to get his points across. Maybe you thought he was being interrupted or his questions weren't being answered directly. You know, maybe you could point us to a better showing than this. That being said, you know, this just left me wondering why y'all would recommend this guy as the expert on the topic. You know, and again, you know, I'm always gonna have an issue with something that doesn't use, you know, something that looks down on mathematics, which it does appear that David Weiss, he specifically said he wants to move away from the mathematics. So, you know, that's going to be an issue. And, you know, a 5% just being comfortable with, you know, anything where somebody says that, you know, we need to ignore the math is a bit suspect. You know what I'm saying? But that video is for another day. We got a video coming up where I think I finally, you know, this year born's equality. But I'm seeing that for some, it's just 6. So that'll be a future video that we get into. You know, in the meantime, you know, for me, I have to say I didn't learn anything new, you know, about flat Earth from David Weiss that, you know, really changes my mind. You know, there's some observations, some of which I've made myself, you know, personally, that, you know, I see him denying right there. So, you know, sometimes you got to realize that, you know, when you and a person don't have the same knowledge and wisdom, it's impossible for you to come to understanding. You know what I'm saying? It is literally impossible. You know, and you know, especially when people don't know arithmetic. Because see, if you don't know arithmetic, right, it's going to be hard for you to deal with supreme mathematics. So like, I'll give you a good example, right, of the difference between supreme mathematics and arithmetic. See, in arithmetic, you got the what they call it, the commutative law, the communicative law. How you pronounce it? The communicative law of addition. See, that says that if you add 1 plus 2, that's the same as adding 2 plus 1. But see, in supreme mathematics, that's not the same thing. In arithmetic, in general arithmetic, it's the same thing. So you're dealing with positive and negative numbers, you know, in arithmetic, it's telling you one thing. But in supreme mathematics, it's telling you something else. So like there's, not really -1 in supreme mathematics. There's ignorance. There's putting the wisdom before the knowledge, but what's really negative knowledge? You either know or you don't know. The Boolean law. What is the Boolean law again? I know what it is, but I can't put the name with what exactly it is now. See them things right there like that? See, that's why them college people, they don't understand. If that's their foundation, just the world of academia where these things don't have to be applied, you know what I mean? Knowledge and wisdom have to be applied in a specific way. Can't be applied wisdom knowledge. 0.0 equals 0, A0. What is this saying? 0 times 0, or 0 times 0 equals 0. And 1 times 1 equals 1. Forward unto yawn. So why do you want others to conform to the way you think? I mean, you don't have to conform to the way I think. It's more like if you don't conform to the way that I think, right? Why don't we just admit that we different? Why do you want me to conform to this open-minded way of thinking where anything goes? You know, it's good to question stuff, but just because you question something, that doesn't mean you're supposed to come. It's not the act of questioning something or the idea of questioning something does not inherently mean that what you're questioning is wrong. Like I could have questioned, you know, is this a computer? Like when I just saw it sitting there, for instance, sometimes you go in a store, right? And they got a phone or a computer there that's just a shell. It's not, you can't actually make a phone call on it. So I might sit here and look at this computer right here and question, is it really a computer? But now that I've gotten on the internet, did a whole live with it, right? Then, you know, it becomes foolish for me to just continue to rebel against the idea that it's a computer. You know, sometimes it just appears that if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, you know, some people are not prepared to admit that it's a duck. You know, you can question things, you know, we have, you know, math and science to be able to make measurements and judge these things. Listen, we had to watch this because, like I said, we've had some encounters with flat, you know, people from the flat Earth community, and they all recommended that we pay attention to Mr. David Weiss. So, you know, in the interest of being open-minded, we heard him out. You know, like I say, he didn't introduce any questions that really intrigued me like that, but you know, we gave everybody a shot. Forward unto your said people questioning. All right, now you want to talk about the Coca-Cola, but you're saying people questioning what happened with the Coca-Cola the first year and were called conspiracy theorists. The second year they were proven right. Okay, you know, but I'm not seeing the equivalency to what I'm saying. You know, there's other things that people question and they were proven wrong. You know, it doesn't, you kind of, it appears that you're kind of equating questioning with proving something wrong. There's a scientific paper written on 31st January by 9 Indian scientists that said this isn't natural. They were forced to take down that paper. Now it turns out there is something in it. Well, you know, listen, forward unto yarn, you know, I didn't take the vaccine. You know, in my official position, you know, we did many videos here, right? My official position was this is too new for us to say anything, for us to you know, for me to really, you know, you know, just the way they relaxed the entire process, right, of studying it and you know, bringing forth whatever treatments, you know, all of it. That was my point. Was that, you know, but look, I'm the type of person that when a new operating system comes out for my phone, I don't download it the first day. I give it like a couple of days or a week, and then I look at the reviews and make sure everybody, saying they ain't got no glitches or nothing. But sometimes when a new operating system come out and you hear it got glitches, I just wait. Because, yeah, I question things. I examine. I'm not sure if you know what kind of room you in right now, right? But us as 5%, that's the very first thing we taught is to examine. So what we did here, right? I don't know if this is why you came here, is look, we examined what David Weiss had to say. And for me, everybody here, they watch this on their own, right? But for me, I've determined from my examination that he didn't say anything that would make me change, right, my entire worldview, especially in light of my experience and mathematical calculation. But I don't, I want you to question stuff too. Once again, when you want to deal with questions and answers, you've come to the right place. 5%, that's what we do. That's our initial training. It's the question and answer format. You say here, forward unto yawn. So for me, it's simple. People who've been called crazy and even burned for it were proven right the next, or even 400 or 500 years later. Yeah, some people was just wrong, and they was seen as wrong then, and then years later, with a more well-rounded view in the 2020 perspective of hindsight, they're also wrong. There's plenty of people who've been called crazy, and it turned out that they were in fact batshit crazy. We get a little confirmation bias there. Because not for nothing, I don't know if you're here to support flat Earth, but you kind of can't have it both ways. Because Galileo was not only called crazy, but he was jailed. Copernicus, these guys was like excommunicated at the time. People who was called crazy for saying the Earth was a globe. So that goes both ways. Once people that didn't believe in Christianity called the people who believed in Christianity crazy and burned them for it, like you said. But then you have other, situations. Take the Salem witch hunt, specifically when the Christian people burned people who did not believe in Christianity and called them crazy. So I'm not really sure how that can be an objective measure. You say you can have it both ways. You keep your faith and listen to others believe. Maybe we have a language barrier here somehow. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm absolutely positive that you're unaware. You said I'm a Muslim and I was schooled in a Christian YMCA school. Okay, I'm about to let you know something here. Forward into yarn. The black man is God, and my name is Allah. I think you needed to hear that, because this faith, belief, these types of words don't actually have meaning in my language. I just want us to be clear that if you want to talk about wanting people to conform to your beliefs, and now you tell me that you're a Muslim, I would be interested to know which country are you from in the Islamic world? So you're from Pakistan. Now, in Pakistan, what would happen if I told them that the black man is God and my name is Allah? What would happen over there? By the way, how does that make you feel? When I say that the black man is God and my name is Allah. How you feel about that? Forward unto yarn. I think you said the crazy will hang you, the sane one will ask you for proof. Others might take you to the hospital. So basically what you're saying is they all want me to conform to their idea. Is that about right? Again, because I don't conform to their ideas, you're saying each one of them will one of them, the crazy, I guess you're saying, will determine me to be a heathen and hang me. The same one is still going to question me and ask me for proof, and others might take you to the hospital. Well, you only go when something's wrong with you. I guess y'all got a G building over there too. Hey man. By the way, forward unto you, we do have a question in the room here. What is the difference? What is the difference between a Muslim and a Muslim? Interesting question. Interesting. He said, I am not in control of anything. The only thing I can control is my next step. The rest of the controversy makes my life interesting. Oh, so you just Luciferian. You just want to have controversy just to make your life interesting. So you said there's no difference between Muslim and Muslim. It's just grammar or an error of language. I'm saying I noticed that the Muslims tend to be whiter. Like you never hear about Muslims in West Africa, like Albanian Muslims. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just in America. Maybe that's just in America. Because see, over here we got Muslims. You know about the real Muslims? Where you live at now? Where you live at now, forward unto you know, where you live at? You might need me to teach you about the real Muslims. You might need me to teach you about the real Muslims, and then I don't know, maybe you could get on the path. I'm not sure. You had to talk to them. I don't know, if you don't live in America, you might not know the real Muslims. Who knows, man? You know, maybe he's in a time zone out there where it's time for him. He has to drop out. But so a good. Once again, shout out to Professor Dave Explains. Which is where I got the video from. You know what I'm saying? But apparently, it was on these two hosts right here, on the edge with Andrew Bold and Sean Atwood right here. Shout out to them too for moderating that, getting the questions, and I guess they got a channel that this probably originally came on. Shout out to Professor Dave and David Weiss. You know what I'm saying? You said Muslim is American and British, like color and color. Let's see. See, I don't think you understand that if you wanna study with real Muslims, you got to meet the NOI. Do you know about the NOI, the Nation of Islam? Elijah Muhammad. So you can really get some measure of proficiency with Islam. You said you know Al-Hajj Al-Malik Al-Shabazz. Nice guy. See, that's good. But you got to go get on the line. See, we ain't talking about just studying speeches. We talking about listen. You got to stop what you doing. You can tell me I know him as Malcolm X. I know who Al Hajj Al Malik Al Shabazz is, and I know how to spell it. I told you, man. I don't think you know who you dealing with here, man. I don't think you know. What are you telling? What should I tell him? See, there's Elijah, Malcolm, Allah, Prince, and then me. You think you're gonna tell me? You think you're gonna tell me? You said that guy had the ability to speak and make you listen. No wonder they kill the thinkers and leave the crazies in control. No, you know why they able to do that? Because you listen, but you ain't here. You just listen to the words, but you ain't here. Well, I wouldn't have to tell you that the black man is God and my name is Allah. See, when you came on here, you know what you did? You said, "Peace, God." You don't know the message to the black man, so you don't know what was being clarified in those speeches. Somebody get this guy. Somebody get this guy a link to Melchizedek, the red book. give him the red one. He needs to start from the beginning. See, I don't know how it is, how you talking now, but that's where you need to be over there with the restrictive law. Till you see if you can make it. Right now, I don't know if you can make it. You said for simple logic, I can't be alive because even with medical advancement, you will die in under 100 years. And in that time, I will do more. In that time, I will do more than this whoever you think alive has done since 632 AD or any time before that. See, in that time, I will have lasting and timeless impact on this world that you live in. While you will still be waiting for Allah to come and do his magic on Shaitan. He said, let's assume you are by what formula you created the Rose Nebula. Are you okay? See, if you really believed in what you be saying, you wouldn't ask me no question like that. Because what you would know is that that formula is just a reflection of what it is that I do. And that pattern can be expressed as a mathematical formula. Like if you fall out the window, nobody's doing no formula. You falling out the window. And then if people want to, measure what happened to you, how hard it was you hit the ground actually, then they can go and they got formulas for that. It's just like somebody could take this video right now, they could break it down. See the way how he's talking, he's using these certain devices or whatever. But I'm not thinking about that as I'm talking. I thought you knew about it a lot, man. So that's why I told you, go, look, come to New York, go down to 127th Street and 6th Avenue. Tell them Darkim sent you. They know the guy. He said, what number are you thinking since I'm your creation? Oh God, you can guess what for number I'm thinking. Now see, that's where you fucked up at. See, Yakub, you could be Yakub's creation. You haven't shown and proven that you came from me. You from over there. You know y'all other kind of Caucasian people over there. You think I don't know that? That the Caucasus Mountains come all the way down there. You gotta stick around. See, because the where you at right now, see, your mind is spooky. So you've been learning this spooky shit. You've been learning this since I don't know how old you are. And now your mind is twisted into not knowing that everything is real. See, everything is real. You said 69, 69. It was that simple. I'm double horny always. So you're no God, but this was entertaining. So guessing the number that you was thinking is what would make me God? Let me ask you a question. How many numbers has your God guessed in the history of time? Why didn't he just go ahead and guess that Adam and Eve was going to eat the apple and kick them out of Eden for even thinking of that disrespect? You know, it's always strange to me how you religious people will give tests that you've never given your God. How many times have you asked your God to guess a number? How many times have you asked your God to guess a number? Like, okay, you already asked me now, right? You already asked me, and I didn't guess the number. Now ask your God to guess the number, because that's how this works. There's like overtime where he get a chance to score, I get a chance to score. So go ahead and ask him now to guess that number. And while you at it, tell him to get America out your country. Let's see how that works. He said, Adam and Eve aren't my problem. What about original sin? See, your heathenness is showing now. See, this is why you Muslim. This is why, this is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, Don Bishop, you know, that's actually an excellent question. You know, speaking of numbers, forward to yawn, why don't you ask your God for the numbers to the lotto? Why don't you ask him which stock, ask him which stock is going to be shooting through the roof this year? And you know, what other numbers, what other numbers might, you know, Tom, do you have any videos on YouTube? Tell them to put your numbers up over 1 billion views. At least he didn't come with the blaspheming, you know, you had these people that tell me about all the fire and brimstone. You had these people. He said, I can't. We aren't on good terms. I'm not following his set rules. Even if I did, he ain't about to hand out lotto numbers. Why wouldn't he just hand out lotto numbers? You see, that's what I'm saying. Some of the things that he takes the time out of his day to do, like for some reason, he's always at sporting events, no matter what. Listen, it don't matter how even brutal the sport is, he's right there. But somehow he's never on the scene when people that's weak is being harmed. Come with these excuses, you're not following his rules now. Why does your God always get an excuse? But I got to deal with the cold hard. Would you give me about 45 seconds to guess the number? Oh, you said, listen, you want to argue with him with what and why? Go read his book. No, I'm asking. I just wanted to see how open-minded you were. I wanted to see how open-minded you were, and how much you wanted me to conform to your idea. Sometimes I just like to check the people out, see where your consistency is. Or if you just talking the controversy because there's some excitement in your life. That's what you told us. But forward unto yawn, shout out. We've done enough entertainment. My audience doesn't like me to get my audience doesn't like me to get too caught up. He said, I'm not defending God from what I read. He's good at taking out humans. So I leave his defense to him. No, you the one that believe in. See, that's what I'm saying. You can't punk out now. See, when it came time to question me as being God, you was all gung-ho. Now you got 1 or 2 questions you can't answer about your God, and now you ain't defending him. He on his own. You ain't no Muslim. But like I said, man, we did enough. We done enough. We've had enough. I'm not sure what you came on here to defend. Actually, that's a great question. What exactly you did come on here to defend? But we'll leave that up to another day. You know what I'm saying? Forward unto yawn. Welcome to the channel. First time, at least you speaking on here. You know what I'm saying? You're welcome to come back. Check us out another time. In the meantime, between time, about to take it down. I got some of that 18th century yard work to do out there in the yard again tomorrow. He said, "Yeah." He said, "I questioned you because you can't turn me off like flicking a switch. I'm not making God angry. You want to give me a heart attack the next second. Come on, man. You don't really believe that yourself. Because you just said you don't listen to him. See, you gotta stop it. You know that stuff is fake. Why you I'm from New York, man. Not going for the monkey chump bullshit. Where you get this where you get this stuff from? Wait a minute. He's gonna get angry. He's gonna get angry with you for asking a question, but he ain't gonna do nothing about people dropping bombs in countries where, the people there worship him. People drop bombs on pilgrims going to Mecca to do their Hajj. And he don't do nothing about that. But if you say the wrong thing over here on YouTube, he's gonna give you a heart attack. You can't make this shit up, ladies and gentlemen. Can't make this shit up. I'm playing on the safe side, being cautious. I test you, I might get kicked off of here. Chat. I challenge God, I might warn his wrath. But you don't know me very well, do you? This is this this is your this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, I see. Maybe West Coast Weiss. Maybe you should send him a link. Maybe you should send him a link and let him know that we don't teach that. This here filth, foreign filth that you're talking. But like I said, I got that. You say God doesn't bomb people, Bible is full of it. No, I didn't say God doesn't bomb people. I said, why does he let the people who worship him get bombed? Even in the act of worshiping him. Man, he don't know no scripture. He's not the people of the book. I'll be done, Bishop. He is not the people of the book. He catch 500 lashes right now in we call over there. He catch 500 lashes in Tehran right now. I want to answer your question before when you asked who wrestled with God. Yeah, that was a while back when I asked that. From shooting meteorites to volcanoes. Yeah, I hear you, man. Like I said, somebody send this guy the link. Somebody send this guy the link to Melchizedek, the Red Book. Forward into your on. You just check for the link. And when you get there, it's going to be a red and white book. You get that. You got to catch up. this stuff you saying, you're not even the people of the book. Tell you get off that Muslim. Don't be Muslim. But yeah, like I said, I got some 18th century yard work to do tomorrow. You know, we having the actually it's the repast, but the memorial for Al Jamal is going to be from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock tomorrow at law school. So you know, we'll be out there. We'll be out there doing our thing. Forward unto yours. Check that link right there. I'm gonna give you about 20 seconds. I'm gonna give you about 20 seconds to go ahead and I'm gonna give you about 20 seconds to go ahead and copy that link, go to that, and then after that, to everybody in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna say peace. We should get a chance to get back on here tomorrow because I want to get into some we entertained tonight, but I want to get into some interesting stories. Here's a question. We're gonna go out with this question right here. Right? And go to that site and check it out forward. But here's a question. Did anybody see that Biden, these are my words, but this is how I see it. Biden has just introduced a new crime bill. Forward. Start at the beginning and read the whole thing. Did anybody notice that Biden introduced a new crime bill? See, one thing about New York State in the 90s, right? One of the reasons why it was rough was because you had, from the federal level, you had Bill Clinton introducing the crime bill, right? On the state level, we had Pataki, who he came in, that was part of his whole thing, law and order. And then on the city level, we had Giuliani. So it was like a kind of a triple. See, forward, you keep making excuses. That's how I can tell you ain't no real Muslim. That's why you got the red book. See, then maybe one day you'll get the black and gold pill. But right now, unfortunately, this red pill is not the same as the Matrix. But that's what you gotta do. That's how you gotta start. But yeah, that was the case here in New York, where it was like, how they say the intersectionality. It was the intersection of three people who came in office, whether that was their original purpose or, whether that became their purpose, they was in office and part of their primary objective was to lock niggas up. The same way you got the opposite when you had Obama, Cuomo, and de Blasio. See what I'm saying? So you see that culminated in, you know, no bail. You know what I'm saying? But now you're seeing, you know, kind of a rebound. Now it's, you know, but well, that's what we get into. You know what I'm saying on the next live. But you know, I see some things developing there that you know I want to discuss. But what do you say? You said, why can't I argue on the top of my mind? I mean, don't take this the wrong way forward, but you don't have very much on the top of your mind. So you probably don't want to do that. It might feel like fun, but you're battering yourself. It's like it's like drugs. It's like crack cocaine. Feels like fun, but you're destroying your life. You said we all pissed each other off intellectually. No, that's, you know, oddly enough, I was quite amused. You know, once again, you know, I can tell that this is your first time. this is your first time uh, at a random jewel session, and that's okay. And I've been waiting to say that. I never see my opportunity, but I hear people talking like that now. You know, sometimes you hear new slang, but then you gotta wait till the right time to flam it though. Think you might hear a new slang about something, right? But then you don't, you know, that phenomenon doesn't occur for you to talk about that. You read the whole Bible once and you forgot. I have read thousands of books that I forgot. You see, let me know after you read one that you recall. I don't. You got thousands that you forgot. Just let me know the one that you read that you recall. And don't say the Quran because you're not Muslim. But at any rate, I catch y'all tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Forward unto you. You know, welcome to the channel. You know, click the like button, join the channel if you enjoyed yourself. And other than that, I'm going to sign off and say peace.